What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we are making focaccia. This is the spongy pizza dough bread. Very excited to make it. This is going to be my second or third time making focaccia. Just going to be using olive oil as the flavor, and let's get into it. And if you're not already subscribed to the video, like the video, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what I should make next on this channel. Seems like it's going to be turning into a cooking channel. Not mad about it. And the videos are just going to be getting better and better every Sunday night. Let's get started. First thing we need to do is count out our ingredients. First, we have our poolish. Poolish is a pre-fermented dough. I made it last night, stuck it in the fridge 16 to 24 hours. It is pre-fermented. This only is yeast, water, flour. We have our fork for mixing, 200 milliliters of water. Our scale for precise measurement, because this is chemistry, sea salt, olive oil, big ingredient for flavor, and then our all-purpose flour. Let's get started. First thing that we want to do is take our poolish, put it on the scale, put in our 200 milliliters of water. We want to mix it until all the poolish is not sticking to the bowl and the water is mixed in pretty well. It's a nice milky color. The next thing that I like to do is add 13 grams of olive oil. Mix. Next is 475 grams of flour. And lastly, after the flour, is 15 grams of salt. Now that we have all of our ingredients, I'm going to mix with the fork until it's all come together and it's time to knead. Now that everything's mixed into a pretty dry dough, it's time to dump it out and start kneading. You could use a mixer for this. I personally have never used a mixer. I like doing it with my hands. It feels more authentic. An important part too, you'll see it's extremely sticky. You never want to add more flour. So just keep kneading no matter how messy it gets. Okay. So after about 7 minutes of kneading, hands are relatively clean. I didn't add any extra flour to deal with the stickiness. Just keep kneading and it'll eventually come together. Now that we're done, we're going to cover it, let it sit for 15 minutes, let all of the gluten that we just built relax. And right now, it's not that smooth. So we're just gonna go like this, put our pinkies together, scoop it, create a tight surface. Now it's a lot tighter, bottom is sealed. And we're going to cover this with cling wrap for 15 minutes. Something that I also like to do, put some olive oil on your hands. Put it on your head, just kidding. Just tap it down. That'll just give it some extra hydration and make sure that it doesn't stick to the saran wrap. 15 minutes, just like this. And 15 minutes later, we have a nice, relaxed dough. Really, the whole purpose of just waiting the 15 minutes is just for the dough to relax. That way you can really tighten it up. So let me grab the camera. Right now, you can kind of see how it's shiny, but it's not super smooth. Watch and see what I'm gonna do. So now you can see how smooth it is. Looks like an ostrich egg. So now what we're gonna do, we are going to olive oil our hands, tap the dough, cover for 1 hour. See you in an hour. After 1 hour, this is what we have. It's definitely grown since the last time we saw it. So normally this makes 6 pizza dough balls. This time, we're going to be cutting it in half, taking 2 pizza dough balls for next week's video. So subscribe right now and turn on post notifications. That way you know when next video is posted, Sunday evening. But we're going to use the rest of it for the focaccia. Once you have your dough ball, you just want to press your fingers to the inside, scoop everything in till you have a little dough ball. Pinch the bottom until it's completely shut. That's one. These two, for next week's video, subscribe so you see next week's video. So realistically, we want to keep as much air in this focaccia as possible. So what I'm going to do with these two dough balls, store them in a container. That way they don't go bad. And we're going to be focusing on the focaccia. All right, so the main ingredient in focaccia is olive oil. So we are going to olive oil our pan. There you have it. Nice oiled pan. So right now, yes, this was resting for a pretty long time, although it's not that stretchy. So right now we're just going to spread it out as much as we can, still try and keep as much air in it as possible. This is as far as it's gonna go, so we're gonna cover it with saran wrap, let it rest some more. Since we just kind of messed with it, we'll let it rest for about 15-20 minutes, let it relax, stretch it again, come back to it. If it fills the entire pan, then we're ready to use it. Otherwise, keep repeating it until it fully fits the pan. So we'll check back in 20 minutes. Alrighty, everybody. So after about 4 different 20-minute cycles of pressing my fingers into the focaccia to stretch it out, we finally filled the entire pan. There's a lot of air in it. So what I'm gonna do now is take cherry tomatoes, oregano, and salt, sprinkle it all over, and we're gonna let it rest for one more 20-minute cycle. Really let the air fill up as is. We're not gonna touch it anymore. And then we're gonna put it into an oven that's been preheating for the past hour at 500 degrees. Let's do that. The cherry tomatoes, I'm gonna be cutting them in half, kind of crushing them and putting them face down in the focaccia. Okay, our cherry tomatoes are on. This is what it looks like, just pretty spread out. We'll put our oregano on next, then we'll cover it for 20 minutes, bring it back, then put the salt on. Alrighty folks, we have a pretty juicy focaccia. And now we're gonna just add salt and then put it into the oven for probably 10 to 12 minutes. Into the oven. Ten minutes. Have our perfect slice of focaccia. Spongy? Yes. All right. Wow. That's perfect. Spongy on the inside. There's a little bit of crisp on the outside. It's salty. The dough recipe is perfect. Tomato. I need to put more tomatoes on it because the tomatoes make it so good.
You got it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around, watching the end of the video. Like the video, subscribe, comment down below. I mean, look at this focaccia. I'm gonna bring it in for my coworkers because they've been asking about the focaccia and about my cooking. So we're gonna put it to the test and see what they think. But I think that they're gonna like this focaccia. Stay tuned for next week's video. Remember, I set aside the 2 balls and we're gonna be making some exciting things in next week's video. So subscribe, that way you know when I'm gonna be posting in next week's video. But for now, enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening and I'll see you next Sunday.